Hey guys, it is Monday, May 8th, and it is time for my sketchbook review. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. Honestly, I don't have that much to show you guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you anyway because some people they seem to really like this format over having to go through my vlogs and things like that in order to get the information basically that they would be doing. There's not too much for me to show. Like I said, I've sort of been in between a few things, but I figured I would go ahead and update you. And again, I want to try to get back into doing this at least monthly. It used to be weekly, but I don't know, between my Terri talks and my vlogging, a third video I think would be too much, even if it's just reviewing basic stuff that I've already been doing throughout the week. So I would probably alternate possibly between sketchbook reviews, doing those once every other week, and then a Terri talks every other week. And I am debating on getting rid of the vlog altogether just because I don't know that people are even that interested in it. Yeah. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. I've got two sketchbooks here, my Metallic sketchbooks and then my scribble book. So we left off last time in this sketchbook with this picture of Piper with the martini glasses, which again was a request that somebody had asked for me. So here I have a quick doodle of Cherry and Andrew. Andrew is a smoker, and Cherry has absolutely no concept of personal space. And she is not bothered by smokers, so I just imagine that he was in the middle of taking a drag when she decided to force a kiss on him or something and basically stole his smoke, and is just kind of blowing it out at the same time as him. I don't know. It was a really weird concept that I was like, wow, you know, it's kind of like those concepts of people sharing wine, like feeding each other wine and things like that. Very similar, only, you know, to Cherry, it's just like, this is my everyday behavior, and Andrew just kind of sits back and takes it because why not? She's a good-looking girl, and, you know, I imagine that at some point he and Cherry did have a relationship, a sexual one at the very least, because of her behavior, her mentality, and everything. He wouldn't have turned her away, and again, this is pre-Piper. She's gone, whatever, again, and that's an old story too. I've changed it again because I'm trash, I'm sorry, but whatever. So that's basically what this is. Here we have a picture of little Piper and little Andrew, and it's so stinking adorable. I decided that he's gonna be a chubby kid and he really likes to eat, so he's the one who introduces her to wild mushrooms, things like morels and things like that, because they're both orphans. He comes from an orphan family, and son of a biscuit, my battery is going to kill itself or die. So just a second, let me change that and I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I apologize for that. It showed that I had a full battery when I started and it shot down to like nothing really quick, so it lied to me. So anyway, so back to this, the concept being that he grew up poor, so he sort of had to learn to forage, and she's an orphan as well, so he sort of teaches her how to forage. She's a voluntary orphan. Her parents gave her up, whereas his parents were killed, but they get along. They're actually two peas in a pod, just like Forrest and Jenny, and well, you know what I mean. It's cute, but he has like the world's biggest crush on her as a child, and she is a child. She's clueless. She has absolutely no idea that he has feelings for her. She's just assuming that he is, as she assumes all people are, just being nice. So she's a bit naive as a child, and even as an adult later on. But yeah, he teaches her about morels and mushrooms, and that's kind of where her mushroom liking comes from. Then this character, I had a name for her. I honestly forgot it already. How bad is that? She was supposed to be the other prostitute that works in relation with Cherry. Basically, they're rivals. She's a bustier girl. She's a bigger girl. She's more developed. But at the same time, I wanted to appeal to the fact that she's still very attractive and she's still very desired. She's actually, between her and Cherry in the prostitute home initially, those two were always in competition for the majority of the Patreons, because they both had something to offer that makes them desirable, basically. So I just wanted to kind of do more artwork of her. This right here, oh my god. It's so bad. This is Piper and Bernard. That's one of Lex Scaliger's characters, but his head turned out so bad I don't even want to show it. I'll just leave it at that. There we go. It's so bad. I'm so ashamed. It's so bad. Oh my god. What was I thinking? I can't draw. This was a mermaid that I drew. Oh my god. Another little Piper. I was just kind of getting her proportions down, getting her height and everything in relation to her, well, basically, yeah, the head's at 1, 2, 3. She's about 3 heads taller, so 3.5 as a child, because children do tend to have large heads for their bodies. I made her legs a little bit thicker than I normally would, and she's a little bit leany to one direction, but again, it was late. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. And then another one of Lex's characters. Just a second, I want to see something. Oh, it didn't go through. Sweet. Alright, well, cool. This is up on my DeviantArt and it's up on my Instagram. A lot of these are. You guys have seen a lot of these. Bunny Piper, which I had done around Easter time or so to celebrate, you know, the holiday, but then I didn't like how it was turning out. So what I went ahead and did was I did a cherry instead, and then I finished Piper later on. But yes, Piper did used to have a bunny form, so, and it was really cute. I was really happy. And then this is Cherry and one of Sakura Hearts, or Saku, you guys know there's a bunch of things, one of her characters. So again, it's just Cherry being Cherry. She has absolutely no inhibitions. She's very loose. She doesn't care if it's male, female, or something weird in between. She doesn't care. If they got money, she's gonna hit on them, and that's just the way she rolls. But I was just having fun with it, so yes. Another concept with Piper and Andrew. He gets really, really different. He's a very sweet little boy, and then he turns like kind of into this jerk when he grows up. He's very opportunistic. He does tend to treat women like objects. He's not afraid of touching, even though he knows he shouldn't. He does anyway. He doesn't care. He feels like, you know, they're his property. But it does change when Piper comes back around. At least that was the concept, is that, you know, he treats women like that because he feels like he was abandoned by the only woman he ever loved, which was Piper. And of course, it's a childhood crush and all of that jazz. But kids can love very hard, and when your life is crap and you find like one person who makes it not feel so crappy, and then that person leaves. I mean, he actually ends up encouraging her to leave because she gets adopted, and she doesn't want to go because obviously she doesn't want to leave her friend behind, but he does encourage her to go, but it turns into a bitterment later on in his life. So obviously it's not anything she did. It's honestly completely on him. He is very aware that he is a jerk, and he is very aware that his behaviors are inappropriate, and he's making those decisions. So again, it's a personal choice on his end. But anyway, so it has nothing to do with the picture. Well, it kind of has something to do with the picture, but basically he likes to screw with her. He likes to make her feel uncomfortable. He likes to give her chills because he knows he's very capable of doing it. Because when she comes back, obviously she's a woman now. She's grown up. She understands what she likes in partners. She's dated a few times. Initially she was arranged to get married at some point, and it fell through. And so she's come back home basically because she wants to come back and help the people that she was raised around. And she runs back into him, and they sort of click a little bit, but it's like one of those unspoken things. And even though she wants to and he wants to, neither of them's gonna admit it. Reasons, but they're still friends, and he screws with her. Ultimately the whole plan was for them to end up together, but you know, whatever. He eventually just makes her into a bad girl, and that was the whole premise. But then I was like, this is stupid, and gave up on the idea, because that's how I roll. Bunny Cherry. This ended up being my Easter picture, which I tossed up on DeviantArt and Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. So yes, and Cherry was a bunny, but I never really got to do anything with her. but she was like the ultimate bun. It was fantastic. She was strong, she was sexual, she was just like the ultimate bunny. She's like bunny personified. It was great. I loved it, but I never got a chance to do anything with it, which is sad, but it is what it is. And then this is the last one, honestly, because I skipped a couple Terri talks, or at least one. This one you guys saw, I just uploaded recently, of Piper sitting in her room. Her story, again, has changed. Obviously, I keep hinting at it. This is why I'm bad at comicking, is because I can't commit to one story for too long. I get bored. So what I've actually determined is that I'm going to start doing more shorts with her, just because I feel like that's something I can commit to. So I'm coming up with an overall situation for her to be in, and then I'm going to write shorts within that, so that way I can actually produce something, and ultimately I can compile it all into one large compilation. So that's the inking sketchbook. And now for the color sketchbook. There's not very much in here, so I won't have to bore you guys for too much longer. So this is what I was carrying around with me to do my colored illustrations. And the first one in here is Piper, with some lilacs, or some blue lilacs, whatever you want to call them. The paper is very reflective, and it's smooth. It has no tooth to it, so like the wax sits on top. But I really didn't care, because I enjoy the feel of the paper, and I like working with the materials on it. I know that it doesn't allow the materials to appear as they're supposed to, because depending on the angle you go at, there's shine. But to me, it didn't really matter, because I like the feel of the paper, guys. I can't help it. So that was Piper. And then I have a little childhood one of Piper and Andrew. I was working on this, and then like literally my life kind of came to a standstill for a minute there. So I do plan on finishing this. I just need to get my head back on straight. And I wanted to get some videos done, and I wanted to get a poster done that I was asked to do. So I'm working on it. I could probably work on it a little bit tonight if I wanted to. And then we left off in this one. This is just my sketchbook. This is my doodle book for when I'm sitting there watching TV and not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I left off here with a smug looking cherry. I grabbed one of my pink pencils after that and started working with that. Little Piper and Cherry interaction here. Basically, she's telling Piper in a very not nice way that she has no chest. And I know that I realize that sometimes I do draw Piper with quite a bit of chest, but ultimately she's supposed to be flat-chested. There's not supposed to be much there. She's very thin and willowy, whereas Cherry is very busty and round and curvy, and just she personifies the hourglass figure, and that was my whole goal for her. I was trying to make these two very dissimilar, just because like visually and personably they're very dissimilar, and I wanted that variation between them. But Cherry calls it as she sees it, and Piper is just like, what? I can't believe you just said that. So this is page 1 of a mini comic I did between Piper and Lestrange from when they first met, called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And it's just basically, these are my concept sketches, thumbnails, whatever. I'm up to this page inking. I just kind of got derailed on that too, because the eyes here, this is the only reason why I'm derailed, is these eyes right here. They messed me up. So I'm going to go back and redraw them or something, because it's making it to where I don't even want to finish it at all. Page 3, I'm just, you know, I toss in my dialogue just to kind of see which direction and flow I want to go in. And then I make notes to myself. Page 4, which continues on, of course. Page 5, I have like the little around my hands going like page 6, and of course I write my little cheat notes up here of, you know, these are just 3 different expressions for the exact same situation, so I may as well just use this, draw one, copy and paste it, and change the expression. Haha, people cheat in comics, but I don't think it's cheating. I think it's using my tools. The next page, which is, basically whatever. And then there was another page, but I don't quite know where it is, so I'm not gonna, oh, I think it's right here. No, that's not it. Anyway, so I have these pulled out because I scanned them, so they're probably later on in the thing. This was a picture of Oliver and Andrew, because they both are in the same gang and they fight a lot. It's part of how Andrew ends up becoming a jerk, is basically he's learning from his environment. He has to adjust. He's a very gentle, very soft child, and you know, the only way for him to survive is by joining this gang, because once he turns 18, he's on his own, and he knows it. It's actually sooner than that. I think it's when he turns 13, he's on his own, and when Piper leaves, he's about 5. So he has a few years where he's okay, where he's being taken care of by the orphanage, by the church and things like that. But at some point he has to make a decision. It's either he leaves, because he's not going to get adopted. He's a boy, and boys tend to not get adopted unless it's for like gang related stuff or for farm work. And he, I believe, does farm work for a little while, if I recall my story correctly, but it doesn't pay. So he needs something that's going to pay, because ultimately his life goal, which is stupid because of how he treats her when she comes back later, is to follow Piper. But he ends up getting caught up in the gang with Oliver and Seamus. And what ends up happening is he just takes on fighting and petty crime. He doesn't do major crime. He leaves that for the big dogs, but he does do petty crime. And so he kind of gets swept up in that lifestyle, and his goal of following her ends up falling through, because he kind of gets stuck, and then he kind of likes what he does. So yep. So he fights, and he's actually really good for such a gentle person. He, to his core, is a very gentle person. He's really good at fighting, and he likes kicking Oliver's butt. It doesn't happen very often, because Oliver is just merciless, and basically that's it. But every now and then he gets a good licking. So, oh, this is the rest of it. So then this was the next page after that last one, if you guys remember. And then this was supposed to be the next one. I just didn't get around to sketching it in. I was working on, this was supposed to be Piper for something or another, I can't quite remember. I drew Little Jailbird Cherry. This is Harp and Stars inspired, because I just kind of threw back to that as an idea or a concept to sketch. But basically she gets stuck in jail, and the entire time she's there she harasses the officers, because she's not going to get in trouble. She knows it. She's a girl, for one, and for two, she's part of the Dollahans, and that was the whole thing. So she could basically get away with anything. She went to jail basically to just spend the night and then get let go the next morning. So she knows, and she completely plays it up. She has absolutely no fear of the police. She's very well protected, and she doesn't care. And when you don't care, it's hard to punish people who have no sense of, like, not necessarily morality, but they have no sense of fear of like authority. And yes, so that's my cherry girl. I love her. She particularly likes to harass Lawrence, because he's such a straight arrow. This is supposed to be a nice little lovey picture of Andrew and Piper, but I didn't like how it was turning out. This was some instruction. I recently commissioned Lex Gallagher to do a Cherry Piper portrait. She's got 2 versions. They're both up right now. They're fantastic. Money well worth, like every single penny was worth it. And it just turned out so fantastic. And I just kind of gave her these basic concepts to give her some direction as to what she could do. And she went with it, and she just did such a fantastic job. So this was just kind of laying it out for her for decisions if she wanted to make them. I mean, honestly, I give most of my commissioners freedom to do as they will, but she was asking for guidance, so I gave it to her. Another alternate universe of Piper and Liz Rain. Liz Rain, again, this wasn't the idea that they both got adopted together by the same family, but like they still have like this little budding romance. And no, it's not incest if they're not related, guys. They're just adopted by the same family. They're actually adopted as servants, basically. They're brought in and groomed to be servants. And that was the whole thing. And they end up falling in love and all this crap. And I was just picturing him sitting on a swing, and she wants to swing too, so whatever. But highly inappropriate. I enjoyed it. I was listening to Heather's the musical stuff, and I was thinking about Cherry and Father O'Malley again, but you know, never meant to be. Never meant to be. I can't turn the page. And then this was just a page of doodles that I was working on. I've been changing up my style a little bit to go a little bit more cartoony and a little bit more simple, because I feel like my style in particular is a little bit too complex for what I'm aiming to do and for my time constraints. So I'm trying to simplify it. I'm trying to back off from the heavy detail. I'm trying to make Piper's face and everything a little bit more angular, whereas Cherry would be much softer because she is ultimately a rounder character, and give her like these points that frame her and things of that nature. But so I got a little Piper portrait here, which I really like. Another little Piper portrait here. Piper meeting Bartholomew, who is her moth friend and has very puppy-like behaviors. I've decided that all moths have puppy-like behaviors. And again, this is lending to the next story, the next idea, the overall concept that I'm trying to simplify down artistically and simplify down literally, so that way I can portray things a little bit easier and in smaller installments. Basically, I've decided we're going with like this hierarchy of bats are at the top because they're the boss, rats are somewhere in the middle, and the mice are at the bottom. And Piper, being an orphan mouse, is at the bottom, but she's brought in to be a servant basically for a rich bat family. Bats eat moths, for those of you who don't know, and so she makes a little friend in this little moth that is supposed to be dinner. And she's not going to let him be dinner. So they have many adventures together, basically her trying to keep him hidden. And at some point, the son of the person who she works for, who's roughly her age, which is part of the point, finds out that she has this little moth, and then like they have to strike up barters and things like that to keep the moth hidden, and yada yada. It becomes this whole thing, but for right now, it's Piper and a cute little puppy moth. So deal with it. And here's Piper hugging her cute little puppy moth because he's so adorable. Bartholomew he kind of looks like a bee here, but he doesn't look like a bee here, but whatever. And I was doing a little Piper running, and Bartholomew is going to be flying next to her sort of thing, because that's how they race. He cheats! And she calls him out on it, and then he just, I don't know, poofs at her, because like he's got like the powder on his wings. And if you guys remember correctly, back in the day there was this picture of Piper fighting a moth, and it was bathing her and like powdering her and trying to get away, and she was supposed to be taking him to be Edwing's dinner, if I recall correctly. She went to a market to go get it, and then like no one told her that she should ask them to make sure it's a dead moth before they give it to her, and she doesn't know any better, so she's trying to bring home this live moth, and it's fighting her the whole way. And Thornton, of course, found it like hilarious. So of course he would. That's just his thing. But she comes back and she's all covered in like moth dust, and like the moth has gotten away and she has failed in her mission. But it doesn't matter because it was adorable, and she's not going to let the moth die this time. So. And that's it, guys. Honestly, there's a lot going on in my head when it comes to this stuff, and that's part of why I'm so stuck, is because there's almost too much going on in my head. And again, it's why I'm revisiting things and simplifying while I have the time to do it. So yes. So yeah, that's what's knocking around in my noggin. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I feel like I just kind of rambled on for like 20 something odd minutes, but you know, I've been asked multiple times to go back to doing sketchbook reviews, and I'm happy to do it. It's just part of me is like, so many videos. So this one is, so you guys are going to get like a double one this week, because I'm going to put up my Terri Talks from the one I missed last week. I'm going to upload this one, and then I have to do my vlog later on this week. So it is what it is. I am not sure that, well, yeah, I can put it up Wednesday. I do have an interview on Wednesday, so I probably will do it later in the day. But anyway, I just wanted to show this and share this with you guys. By the way, I absolutely adore these pink color erase color pencils. I feel like I need to send them off to all of my friends. Look at that color. It's just, it is sexy. It's so sexy. But yeah, okay, that's not the important thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are happy I'm doing sketchbook reviews again. I hope you guys are just having a plain old good day. But I am going to go get a snack and sit down and doodle before I have to go to bed. So I will see you guys in the next sketchbook review.